Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. I don't really know what's going on with my hair today. I didn't make my bed yet. I need to find a nail cutter, whatever. It's a dysfunctional day as usual. But today I want to talk about something interesting, which is comparing different welfare programs in Finland versus the US, because I guess I have experience kind of with both of them at this point. So I'm going to spend some time explaining what that looks like. Now, it's funny because, it's like there was an Instagram reel I reposted yesterday on my personal Instagram, which is like people are like, how do you have so much money to travel when, like who gives it to you? A sugar daddy, your family? And it's like, I work, ? So this is about to become a very unmigratory Michaela due to the fact that I have not booked any more flights since I've been laid off, because obviously that is a thing for employed people, which I am currently not. So we're going to talk about what all these programs look like, and then I need to come up with a game plan for what kind of new job I'm going to get. I'm stalling on that a little bit for so many different reasons. Part of it is considering doing the PhD full-time, considering that's honestly kind of the trajectory right now, most likely, but I'm also an unfunded PhD, which means I'm also an unemployed PhD, which I would not recommend that. It's actually a terrible way to go. It was working for me because I was working during the time that I was doing my PhD, so I still had a steady stream of income. Now I basically don't, so fun. But again, the point of this video is to talk about things that are theoretically available to me, and then we're going to talk about what that even kind of looks like. So in Finland, I'll start with that. You obviously have unemployment, which is for actual Finnish people, not me. Then maybe I don't know. I have not dealt with that before, so don't ask me. I know that okay, I have a child in Finland. That opens up some doors, you have that child benefit allowance thing, which is 120 euros a month. You have a 10-month paid leave for having a child. You can either put your kid in daycare or take 300 euros a month to keep your kid at home with you. This is kid stuff, but having a kid, especially as a single parent, will definitely qualify you for some government stuff, because it is obviously a very large financial load being a single parent. So when I'm going after my child's father for child support, is this really a question? Because there is honestly no amount of money that can replace the amount of work that it takes to raise a child. So honestly, it's I don't even feel bad about it, because it's it belongs to the child. It's not about me hating him or anything. But anyway, separate discussion. So, okay. Those things, somebody I was talking to in the sauna told me that there's actually a housing allowance benefit. I didn't know about that, but the cool thing about these things in applying for these programs is owning property does not disqualify you from these. So that's really good for me in my asset protection situation. When you get into financial management and financial advising, you really start getting into this stuff, but generally we're dealing with people who are not on welfare, so I'm throwing a lot of curveballs in here. Okay, so I just listed all the things in Finland. Now I'm going to talk about all the things in the US. Now, currently, I don't have a job, which means I need to go apply for stuff. Because I had a child, and oh my god, my only piece of advice to anybody ever who's working for a corporation who had a child, please use all of your family leave at once. Do not save it for other points in time when the baby is 1 year old. Why do I say that? Because if you get laid off, you're not really going to get reimbursed for it. If you live in a state like New Jersey, you might have more of a CYA maneuver due to the fact that you can get FLDU, which is family leave something, or FLI, family leave insurance. So it's looking like the 5 weeks I didn't get paid out from my company, I will get paid out from the state of New Jersey. However, the rate is going to be lower, which kind of sucks. So I wish I stayed at home longer when the baby was littler and needed me, but I was trying to be American and go back to work right away. Honestly, if you have the option between having a baby in Europe and a baby in the US, I think the choice is obvious that you should have the baby in Europe, because it is just a way better place to have a baby. Again, not the point of this video. Okay, so I'm currently applying for that. Then I'm going to have to get on unemployment. I've talked to recruiters. I've had like 5 different interviews. I had people saying this is the worst job market I've ever seen in 20 years. And it's very common to see people out of work for 6 months at this point. Well, if you're living in the state of New Jersey, your unemployment insurance is going to run out after 6 months. So good luck with that. The only thing is I have like the 6-week buffer. So I have a 1.5 buffer. So I have like 7.5 months of buffer right now. After that, I am SOL. So I really, look, I've got some time to figure it out, but like, as I say all the time about my life, it's like a well-constructed Jenga game. So we're like putting all these pieces together. Yes, cool. But man, it's really crazy. Anyway, all these different programs, and I will have to follow up more on these later and hopefully not forget about it, because I have a call with a friend in a moment to talk about some making my own business stuff, because maybe it will be easier for me to be an entrepreneur than a corporate worker because of the ADHD madness. But essentially, there are things aside from these like income supplement thingies I'm going to do, and these include SNAP, WIC, and what is the third one? Oh, I'm getting on government health insurance. I've been on it before, and honestly, it is great. None of that COBRA nonsense. So now to continue this. I didn't remember what COBRA stood for. It stands for Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1985, which mandates an insurance program which gives some employees the ability to continue health insurance coverage after leaving the company. I don't really even know why this thing was invented, because it's so expensive and it's basically like paying out of pocket. Fun fact, my dad is actually using COBRA and he left his company like some time ago. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so to explain all these things. Now, what does SNAP stand for? Let's tell you right now. I don't remember. New Jersey's... Okay, obviously I live in New Jersey. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, food stamps. And then WIC is Women, Income, Children. So the thing is, it's like, I live by myself, and I obviously don't have a husband, and I don't even have child support. So cool. Look, we gotta survive somehow, and making YouTube videos is gonna be one of those things, because now I have the time for it, kind of. But, like, I'm making sure I'm on top of signing up for all the things that I can sign up for to make sure that I can feed myself and give myself, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like food, clothing, shelter. So we're going to be doing all that. Now, very conveniently, WIC just called me back and scheduled my appointment for tomorrow, and I have an appointment for SNAP tomorrow. And they're both like in the same town, which is not that close to me. It's 30 minutes away. Oh my God, so far away. I think it's 20 minutes, but whatever. So at WIC, they have to weigh the baby. The thing that's really confusing is they're like, yeah, you have to tell us verbally what your pay was for the last 30 days. But supposedly it's supposed to like look into the future, which my income now is 0. Great. Anyway, but yeah, so this is all going to get done tomorrow. I already applied online for the health insurance. That they just end up, sending you a card and being like, okay, you're approved. And what other things am I doing? Then I have to finish collecting my FDLU family leave, and then at some point go on unemployment, but these are separate issues. So these, like, yeah, but you can only use unemployment for 6 months, but it's a pool of money that you can pull from up until, like, 1 year after your claim. So, again, this is all, like, the stuff that I'm currently applying for. Now, Finland, they don't, like, have all these different kinds of programs, and the thing that, like, I really kind of hate about the U.S. is it's basically, like, either you be more than middle class or you be really poor, because, like, in between is just not great. And that's kind of where I was, to be honest, with, like, when I had my regular job. It's, like, it was pretty tight, even though I was still traveling, but, I joke that going to Finland helps me keep my expenses down. That's not a joke, that's a reality. So, yeah, now that I'm back in the U.S. for a little bit, look, we gotta be proactive, because this gas ain't getting any cheaper out here. So, and in Finland, luckily, I have free transportation, because I have a stroller and a baby, and I can just hop on the bus. The VR train is the only thing that's costing me money, but I still have student prices, so lovely. Anyway, I feel like this channel should really be about, like, I was going to make a really inappropriate joke. Being frugal. So, yes, but this is what's going on today. I guess I can, like, report back for, like, how this interview goes, because I watched somebody who gave a report on this interview, and she's like, well, I have a job, and I'm single, and, like, why are they looking at my gross income when, after taxes, I don't take that home? And I'm thinking, yeah, well, like, yeah. Yeah, but essentially, we're going to see how all of this goes. I think we should be good. We should be fine. I will not get, foreclosed on where I'm living, and I will have enough food, and I will try to enjoy life with my baby now that I'm currently not working. So that's everything. I will start looking for a new job, but I have to, like, figure out what I'm looking for. I don't know. I really have to, like, figure out my life, but honestly, things are going pretty well right now. What I've realized the key is, it's not really what is going on in your life, it's how you feel about what's going on in your life. So, like, things could always be worse. Like, I'm chilling. I have my own place to live. Nobody's bothering me. If anybody's bothering me, I can just, like, ignore them and walk away, or just hang up on them or stop talking to them. Power's all in my hands, so, it's gonna be fine. Like, do I love that I have to use these programs? Not really, but, like, hey, at least I'm not going to be homeless, so it's all good. All right, well, we'll keep talking about this stuff later, since I'll be talking about my American life for, like, the next 3 months minimum. Actually, 3 months is a good estimate. Well, until next time, bye.